I'm Mrs. Manic and welcome to Manic Creations. First of all, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing and of course commenting, because I do enjoy reading every single one of your comments and I do reply to every single one. However, if you're already subscribed, then welcome back. I have missed you guys and I'd like to think that you've missed me. It has been so long and I do apologise that I'm not a regular uploader. I've kind of had a bad year and I kind of lost my mojo. But I'm kind of hoping it's slowly coming back, so yeah. So, in this video, I'm going to be creating something that I've never done in the past. It's a bit of a mixed media involving a thrift item, some UV resin and of course air dry clay, which if you're already subbed, you know I love my air dry clay. So what's today's subject? Let's see. Release the Kraken! Yeah guys, we are doing a Kraken. But not any kind of Kraken, it's a Kraken coming out of a teacup and saucer. Crazy, I know. But I recently saw, some crafters doing mermaids in teacups and fairy gardens in teacups. And I wanted to do a Kraken, so I thought, well, why not? And these teacup saucers are beautiful, gold and black designed. They were really cheap off eBay. If you're looking for a set, just get yourself on eBay and just get some second hand ones. These were about a tenner, I think. Okay guys, so as you can see, we've got the teacup ready, we've got the trusty glue gun, and we're basically going to be filling in the teacup because the idea I've got behind this is I'm going to be bringing out the tentacles out of the cup, so you're not going to actually see the body of the Kraken or the head, you're just going to see the tentacles. So I'm filling in the cup just so we're not using as much hair dry clay, and all I'm doing is just getting some aluminium foil, throwing it in the cup, and I'm going to use the trusty glue gun to stick it down. Okay, so it's stuck. Now we're going to test it. There we go. All tested. It's stuck. So there we have our base inside. Okay, next stage, we're going to be doing the armature. I'm going to be taking this beautiful purple aluminium wire. And yes, it's purple, just because I love the colour purple. I'm going to be cutting it to the desired length, sticking it down the inside of the cup and using the trusty glue gun to stick it into place, shaping it into however we want our tentacles to be shaped, and then wrapping around some more aluminium foil. So let's get on with that. Yeah, so this is the armature. This is after I wrapped around the original wiring. What I found, unfortunately, is that as I wrapped it, it got thicker towards the end. rather than at the base and taper off to the ends. So I did have to add on these little pieces just to actually give it the right shape. So guys, I've got the outer ready. As you can see, I'm obviously going to be using Das as my choice of clay. Great air dry clay. Getting my board ready, because obviously I don't want to mess up my new background. And I have all the tools of the trade to my left. So next step is we are just going to completely cover all the armature we've just created. I did find at this point as well that I did have to apply some more aluminium foil to bulk out this back tentacle. Of course as well, this is a great time to actually rejiggle your tentacles around in case they're the wrong shape before you apply the rest of the clay. So at this point guys, we have covered one of the tentacles, the back one, and we just rolled up some aluminium foil and we're just going to dab it just to give it like kind of like a rough effect, you know, because, well, why not? Okay, so that's that rough effect done. At this point what I'm doing is adding these suckers. And what I first tried doing was rolling out some clay into some snakes and tried to apply them by making like, you know, circular shapes, but they didn't seem to want to stick. So eventually what you'll see is I eventually ended up making big blobs, putting it on and then using the round stylus ball tool to actually press down to create the sucker. Okay guys, so this is all the tentacles complete, and 24 hours later it's completely dry. Really doesn't take long for dry clay to go and cure itself. So the next step is I'm going to be using this black acrylic paint to give it a base coat, because I do like to use black as a base. But where it's down at the bottom, I'm going to be using these iridescent blues, the PBO brand. And the reason for this is, my plan is to resin the inside of the teacup, so to create an ocean effect, but I'm not quite sure how the colour of the resin is going to take, so I want to give it a bottom coat using them colours. Is the finished look so far. They don't really take long to dry. Okay, so that's now all dry. What I'm doing with this sponge or scouring pad, depending on what you like to call it, is I'm cutting it into 2 small squares, and basically I'm going to use this to sponge on the colours to give it more blending effect rather than using the brush. And on these ones I'm going to be using these, again, iridescent ones, so they give it a shine effect. This lovely purple, a lighter purple, and then this this green, because I thought it, contrasts really well. And again, using the PBO brand. Okay, what I'm doing now is, now that I've put all the dark purple on the tentacles, I'm just going to go around with some wet tissue paper and just wipe off those little dregs that I've accidentally touched the teacup. Next step is, while it's wet of course, I'm going to be taking the lighter purple with the other sponge, and I'm going to be highlighting the areas around the suckers. guys, that really did come out really nice, those contrast in dark and light. And now onto the suckers once this is dry. Okay, so that's now dry. We're going to take that iridescent green and we're going to use a brush this time, and we're going to basically just highlight the suckers but leaving the dark centres. So we're just going to do the round section. I just love the contrast of those three colours in total. Okay guys, so the next step is we're going to be filling in the teacup with this UV resin I got off eBay from China, and for colouring it we're going to be using this calligraphy blue ink. Like I said, I know I filled the teacup in with blue paint previously, just in case this didn't work. So first of all, make sure the paint is completely dry. This is UV resin, so I do have a UV lamp to the side there in pink, naturally. And I've only ever used UV resin once in a previous, which was the Tremors canvas, when I just basically used it as to make everything look gooey. But this is the first time I'm actually going to be using it to actually give like an ocean effect. So I've poured some in there. And next what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the calligraphy ink and a little stick, and we're going to be dropping some of these into, not a lot, to be honest. I think this time round I actually used too much. I think I only put 3 drops in, plus obviously what's left on the stick. If I did this again I definitely would put less in. And then obviously gave it a good stir. Okay, so I stirred this good and proper, getting all the lumps and making sure all the ink was blended in nicely. I know I should be wearing gloves, so no hate. So here we go, I pour this into the teacup. Now, I did notice that I did have some gaps between the original foil at the base, so I did have to give this a little bit of a jiggle, just to make sure that it obviously all got filled in. A great thing about using this resin as well is that while I was painting, while I was putting the clay on, I noticed the original armature was coming away from the cup. The resin will act as a glue pretty much to the air dry clay and has stuck it into place, which is great. So yeah, I poured a little bit over the tentacles as well, poured a bit on the back tentacle just to give it like a dribble effect. And then use the UV lamp to harden it. Okay, here comes the cool part. This really didn't take long to actually harden. You don't have to have a professional light. This is just a nail lamp, and it literally took seconds to dry. So yeah guys, so the resin turned out pretty damn awesome. I was really proud of it. What I decided to do afterwards is move on to the actual base, the teacup saucer. And what I'm doing is I decided to make like a rock formation to surround the Kraken. I'm just using some scrunched up foil, and I'm just going to put the Kraken on there just to size up where I'm going to put things. And then I'm just going to use some tissue paper or some toilet paper and PVA glue and just wrap the foil with that, and then just place it in where I want it and let it dry naturally. did also, while the PVA glue was drying, actually paint them, just so it blended the paint a bit better than when it's dry. Yeah, so the rocks are dry now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some PVA glue and some of this diorama sand that I have, and I'm going to create a beach because, well, the ocean's near the beach and the beach has sand, so therefore my teacup saucer is going to have sand. Yeah, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to surround it with PVA glue and sprinkle some on. Okay, so at this point I wasn't too happy after I'd put the sand on about the rocks. They looked really fake, so I decided to get some of my black acrylic paint and I'm going to shade in some areas using the dry brush method. And then obviously once I'd done that, I left it overnight for the sand to settle and dry with the PVA glue. I was much happier with this after applying the black acrylic paint. It did give it a more realistic look along with the sand. At this stage I did decide that I wasn't going to stop there. I wanted to go back to my Kraken, so I decided to get that resin back out, put the calligraphy back in, not as much this time, and I decided I was going to attempt to actually somehow place the resin on the tentacles while it dripped, while drying it at the same time, to imitate water falling from the Kraken as it rises. I was dubious to how this would actually go, but I will let you decide if you think it was successful or not. So this turned out pretty damn good. We managed to get it dripping down while drying at the same time, which took a lot of work. I could have done with an extra pair of hands. So next step after this was I went back to the teacup saucer, and it's been 24 hours since the sand dried, so I decided to seal it using this Rust-Oleum Crystal Clear. So it took about 20 minutes for the Rust-Oleum sealant to seal that sand, and now it's touch dry, so we can now go on to the next step. But I'm just going to show you how good this looks with all those drips, and the UV resin really did do a great job. So the next step we're going to do, guys, is we're going to finally put it all together. We're going to put the teacup and the saucer together, and for this I used my glue gun. I did make a mistake. I did place it at the bottom of the cup and saucer, and it didn't stick, so I ended up having to put more around the rim, and that finally sealed it. So there we have it, guys. That is our Kraken in a teacup, and this one was fun to make using all the different mediums, from air dry clay, UV resin, paper mache in, as well as using some diorama items such as the sand as well. That was fun. If you obviously enjoyed this, then please consider liking, sharing, commenting and subscribing. If you do, click that notification bell as well, so you're aware of when I put a new video up. I'm not sure when that'll be, but I will get around to putting some more content up soon.